I mean, when you talk, you can kind of hear it a little bit, but that's fine.
Well, until the mold problem is dealt with, the dehumidifier will remain on. Friends, welcome to episode 11 of this show. Some would wonder, why is this episode called Quintessence when there are not 5 members of the cast? Other people would wonder, it's not the 5th episode. I don't name the episodes, James does, and I do question his naming conventions, just not to his face.
I mean, the term quintessence has nothing to do with the number 5, just saying.
Doesn't it?
It's how many bullets going to go into the back of Nero's skull when he gets back to Footfall.
From different weapons.
What does quintessence mean? I mean, it literally has the word quint in front of it.
Yeah, it's the form of being the existential extreme of something. You know, it's the essence of it's the quintessence.
Yep.
Like the quintessential gamer. You know. Like,
exactly.
No one is the quintessential gamer.
Sir La from Funhouse is the quintessential gamer. Good sir.
I'm worried about the fact that people will start realizing I've stolen so many episode names from White Wolf. You know, Gnosis, Quintessence, Umbra.
No one knows.
Listen, I've openly mocked you when you named an episode Gnosis. I mean, you can't just be like, all right, this is going to be an episode called Gnosis, and also I'm going to do a huge amount of exposition reveal. Like, come on now.
I mean, if people were firing guns from the hip, then sure, I'd accept that as a title name.
We're here, friends, for this episode. Things happen. Some cast members are no longer with us. There are plenty of videos about that. You YouTube watchers in the future can go back and watch those videos if for some reason you just love drama for whatever reason. It's so boring to me, but it's there for you.
Let me tell you about the...
You're sustained by it.
Company called TMZ that festers off of it, I should say.
Listen, I don't know if you know this, but
oh, I love that word, Pondo.
All
festers.
media,
it's a good word.
Almost all media loves drama. The kind of drama that I love involves llamas. So, drama llama.
I'm speaking to more one of the sleazier companies. That they've seen guys with camcorders and like get them right in front of these celebrities' face, go like, hey, I've got a question for you. And these people are just trying to walk away, but they keep following.
They want a reaction, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
So meanwhile, yeah, we're gonna do the intros now. My intro is, I have not had any time to play Final Fantasy VII R, but you know what? Tomorrow, there's no new episode of Oath of Endosteel. Everything is done off my plate. I just got done making my bug out bag. I got the back of my new car all loaded up. Everything fits perfectly. That's it. My schedule's done. I got my APGamingREAL is back and running. I got all the people coming to fix my refrigerator, the floor, and the moldy ceiling that's not really moldy, and they're just gonna go up there and be like, all right, there's no mold, and fix it. So tomorrow, PlayStation 4 gets what might be the last time it gets turned on until Last of Us 2. Actually, that's like tomorrow. Forgot about that. PlayStation 5's coming out, and because it's got Horizon Zero Dawn 2, I'm gonna get it. That's all there is to it.
What if they announce that it comes out to the PC 6 months later? Would you buy the PS5?
I mean, I played the original one on PlayStation, so I'll probably still play it on PlayStation 5.
Didn't they announce a new Spider-Man game as well?
Yeah, but I don't give a shit about Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Miles Morales.
Did you play the first one?
Nope.
Or the first one, the one that was with yeah, that was pretty good, I thought.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's quite enjoyable.
Like I literally bought a PS4 just to play Detroit Become Human, but I also picked up Spider-Man and God of War 4 or whatever it was.
Isn't that on PC? Detroit Becoming Human?
It wasn't when I bought it.
PS4.
My playthrough of Detroit was literally like, how fast can I kill every character? Turns out you can kill the characters really quickly. My game was quite single character.
This is the same company that made New Dawn, or was it Until Dawn?
No, No,
it wasn't. No, Quantic Dream did things like Fahrenheit or Indigo Prophet, depending on where you were when that came out. They did Hard Rain,
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain. Sorry, that's one. Yep. And Beyond Two Souls as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like if you like QuickTime events, they're the games for you.
I don't like QuickTime events.
Okay, well then.
I like QuickTime event memes though. That's top tier. Listen, I'll press X to doubt. So, other than Last of Us 2 coming out, which from what I can tell might actually have been made by the actual devil, the more I learn about the making of Last of Us and Last of Us 2 and everything surrounding it, the more I'm like, ow, like what's going on with this game? Why does this game have so much baggage attached to it? Other than that, caught up on Fate Grand Order, and I felt like I didn't have enough games on my Steam game list that I needed to finish. So when Dave was like, hey guys, look at Hardbreaker Shipwrecker, Hard Space Shipbreaker, I was like, you know what, I really want to become, yes, I want to space engineer that so badly. I want to be super arrogant and be like, all right, I'm gonna position the ship, and then I'm gonna find the pressurized section, and I'm gonna pop the hold open so all the pressurized stuff shoots directly towards the salvage area, and then I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna perfectly take it apart, and then I'll get that one beam and the whole ship will fall apart, and then I'll, yeah, like I want to get in there and do engineering style, and I think in the process I'll prove how bad I am at structural engineering. Why dynamics was a course study that I did not do well in initially.
That game is just, when I saw it for the first time, I was just like, normally Focus Home Interactive puts out like very mediocre products. I think the last one that they put out, which was actually decent, was the that vampire game where you had to like culture the subjects by doing their personal quests, and then you could eat them when their blood is just like the perfect level. I forget what it was fucking called now, but it was like where you also played like there was a vampire game where you played a plague doctor who was a vampire in like the 18th century, and in order for you to vampire, yeah, that's what it was. Yes, that's the one. It was very mediocre despite how it looks. And that was the last one they made, but this Shipbreaker game just looks fucking perfect. Just nails it, I think.
How's that fast food?
I don't know. I just got it.
What is it? I mean, I saw a large drink, but I didn't see what the other thing was.
It's a sandwich.
All right.
From Jimmy John's.
I agree. Yeah. That Shipbreaker looks like it nails it.
Yeah, it nails it. Nails it real good.
How is Jimmy John's? Jimmy John's open near me, and I never felt a compulsion to go inside.
Well, you just don't really go inside. You just have it delivered to you because they're fast.
I don't think that they come this far out.
Oh, well.
Is it a wet sandwich or a dry sandwich?
I'm trying to think what that means.
I mean, is there sauce on it or not, man?
No.
There's no sauce.
No. If it was sauce, that's still a dry sandwich. A wet sandwich was something I had in San Francisco for the first time, and I never had it again. It was literally a sandwich that is intentionally made to be dipped inside of a soup, and then you eat the sandwich.
Oh yeah, like au jus sauce. Yeah.
French dip. Yeah.
It's gross. It's nasty.
Well, French dip isn't a soup, but yes.
That's right. Yeah,
close enough.
I had something akin to it, like Arby's, where they gave you a thing of like,
yeah, that's called au jus sauce. It's literally the meat's own sauce.
Gross.
All right, not gross. Let me ask you a question, Dave. What do you think gravy is?
It's pan sauce.
Yeah, it's the meat's own sauce.
Well, it's someone who was making something that was very greasy, and suddenly caught on fire, and they had the bright idea to throw flour on it.
Please, no. Audience at home, if there is a fire, do not throw particulate matter on top of it unless it's baking soda, and if it's baking soda, it better be a metric fuck ton of baking soda. Do not ever throw any particulate matter towards a fire unless you want to have a much larger fire.
Don't use water.
Definitely don't use powdered milk.
There are plenty of fires you can put out with water, but grease and electrical are not one of them. I'll light a second fire to choke it out. No, don't do that either. All right.
I mean, if you use the oxygen faster, yeah, it might work.
That's not how that works at all.
I mean, I've seen them throw fire extinguishers into fires and have them explode to stop off the fire.
Have you seen that meme that's like, you know, should you bring a whatever to whatever? So it's got like knife, gun, water, pan lid to a knife fight, gun fight, water fire, oil fire, wood fire. I put that one up on our OH&S board at work, so everyone could be working a lot safer at work. Go to a knife fight with the right kind of thing.
What? What do you bring to a knife fight, James? Like,
I don't know.
I feel like there are
a knife or a gun according to this chart.
I have to tell you that if you go to a knife fight with a fire extinguisher, you might actually come out ahead. I mean, it's a large bludgeoning object you can use to blind people with, but
yeah, I mean, it's a perfect weapon. You disorient the person and whack them in the head.
I would not call a fire extinguisher the perfect weapon.
21 feet is the effective range of a knife.
Yeah.
What if I got two?
I mean, alternatively, you could do lighter and some like hairspray.
No,
Axe body spray.
No, we're so past this.
I was gonna say Dave, Axe body spray too.
You're new here. How are you?
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm good. I'm Dave. You might know me from other short tabletop role-playing games that Arthur has put on in the past. Also from the internet. If you don't know who I am, hello, I'm Dave. I also make pornography and video games on the internet, so it's a pleasure to meet you. I will be playing today Dawn, who is a sister of the ecclesiarchy, and she will be joining the crew as the moment. I have this written down. She would be joining as the chief confessor. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, another person to yell at me for doing heresy.
I mean, if you don't want to be yelled at for doing heresy, stop doing heresy.
But money.
Yeah, well,
it's literally my job is to get the money.
That's true. I have no follow-up. Dave, you got anything else going on? Whoa. All right, it switched over for no apparent reason. That's fine.
Not really. No, I mean, like I got a couple games coming out, but we always have games coming out, so that is not unusual for us. We release maybe 20 to 30 games a year, so we do a lot of game releases. So, yeah, but that's me. I'm ready to play. I'm super nervous about this, I mind you, because last time I did a Warhammer 40K thing, we did stuff wrong for the first couple of sessions, and then we got chewed out, and then we just said, fuck it, let's just go crazy with it, because it was too much to deal with people wanting us to be right or perfect with the lore. So it was very, very interesting, and I hope that I can do it justice. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Hondo, what do you got?
I spilled my second bottle of plastic cement earlier, like just yesterday, for this week.
Didn't you do that literally 1 week ago?
I did it literally Monday.
Yeah.
I did it literally yesterday.
Incredible.
So again, yesterday it smelled like nail polish remover because of acetone.
It's the worst fucking smell in the world.
I'm used to it, so it smells a more potent version of nail polish remover. Other than that, I haven't really done much. No, I haven't really done much. I've been mostly biding my time, doing things here and there.
Biding your time for what?
I don't know. Whenever I get the urge to record something.
Okay.
That's true.
It hasn't been happening.
I think most people call that procrastinating.
Yeah.
I've got about 40 hours of Jagged Alliance 2 footage I need to edit, and the last time I played that game was about 4 months ago.
Well, most of my time I've been spending staring through a magnifying glass looking at models to meticulously sand and clean up.
Primaris Ultramarines. The only models you'll ever need.
Is that those giant fucking Space Marine models?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Need a whole car just to move them around. Worth half your army value or whatever the fuck.
Oh, Land Raider? Yeah. Yep. Most been doing that. So I've been procrastinating by doing something other productive. So I don't know if it's still procrastinating or not. It probably is.
Okay. You got anything else?
No, I don't got anything else.
Grimdark James.
Thank you. I've had a relatively quiet week this week. I've actually been playing some Elder Scrolls Online since Greymoor came out, but I haven't actually bought Greymoor. I've just it kicked me into playing where I was up to with the previous story content a bit more before, and so I've been doing that because once again, it's a game that rewards you for not playing because you've got things like research you can do that then happens in real time, even if the game's not being played. So it's like playing Eve. You have more fun not playing the game.
No. Let's skip talking about Eve Online.
Exactly.
Most of the worst moments of my life are tied to that game.
But I fixed up my RC Tiger tank this week. Finally managed to get that working again. And of course, last night, so yesterday or earlier today, depending on where you were, was the announcement of the new starter box, or they're not calling it a starter box, they're calling it I can't remember what the term they use, but it's the new box set for 9th edition 40K. But more interesting than that was they also announced a new model, which is called the Invader All-Terrain Vehicle, which is like a little, I guess it replaces the old attack bike. And so many people have put up so many memes comparing it to Mario Kart carts. It's hilarious. So it's now, because it's painted ultramarine blue, it's been dubbed the Marnius cart. Lots of funny memes out already. Oh, there's a dog. Hello, dog. But that's been my week. Just getting ready for this. A lot of day job work, and that's it, really.
Sorry, I just looked it up, and it's it's very goofy looking.
Yeah.
So,
if it hasn't got a mushroom shooter, I don't know. I won't like it very much.
It looks like the Batmobile from the
the Tumblr
Christian Bale movies.
Oh boy,
they just removed quite a bit of it. It's a look.
Would you say it's the cafe racer version of that? You just try to keep the general structure intact with minimum weight possible.
Yeah, it just looks like any moment it'll just split into two different bikes.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously designed to be based on the bike frame split in two and with more stuff in the middle. So
it's pretty much the Primaris attack bike.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's what I got.
All right. Well, let's kick this thing off.
All right, no worries. So I just want to quickly acknowledge for the audience's sake. Obviously, as Arthur said, you want to follow up what happened in the past, you can watch other videos. But obviously, we've got to bring out a couple of characters. They've given me the okay, the players, to mention them, but I'm going to bring the characters out pretty quickly and work on bringing Dave in. So hopefully this all comes across seamlessly, but I also want to thank everybody that has played this game so far for their part in it. All right, so we'll start off with episode 11, Quintessence. We've got a recap first off. So previously on the Rogue Trader, the Last Scion, we watch as the group meets the Sister Superior of the Native Untouchables, and then actually leaves that meeting taking in their stride an untouchable child, or at least young teenager. We see the senior crew investigating a murder scene within the auger systems of the Hand of Calixis. Librarian Viridius informs Pierre about the death of the dreadnought Vastapol. Word arrives on the Hand that Inquisitor Shrane is requesting a meeting on Port Wanda. And finally, Nero instructs Sister Miriam to head to the surface of Regina 4. and then the ship pieces out before she can get back. Thought for the day is only the awkward question, only the foolish ask twice. So we come in on a scene of expanse of the void. We see in the distance the baleful red glow of the Rubicon star, and slightly more in the foreground is Port Wanda hanging in space. From off camera, an immense ship floats into view. It dwarfs all the ships around it. You know, the cruisers, the battleships of the Battlefleet Calixis are tiny compared to this gigantic mass conveyor. Like all Imperial ships, this one is decked out like a floating cathedral, but if anything, this is even more ostentatious in terms of, well, not ostentatious, but at least it is, every single spire is made of, you know, wrought iron and lead lighting. It looks like an entire Vatican City basically raised up and transported in space. Along the side of the vessel, the nameplate reads "Faith Beyond Reason," and it makes ways towards Port Wanda. We cut to a short while later on the docking promenade of Port Wanda, where we see a new character step off the shuttle from this pilgrim ship, surrounded by other pilgrims who have all come for whatever reason to Port Wanda. So, Dave, I'm going to get you to describe your character. The one thing to keep in mind is, so the Faith Beyond Reason is a pilgrim vessel. So effectively, a lot of people leave their lives behind and pretty much do a pilgrimage to various holy sites before returning home. And it's not uncommon for pilgrims to travel poorly. So as in, like, to not take their worldly possessions, to dress only in robes, and, you know, survive off what they're provided by the faithful. When this ship has brought you to Port Wanda to meet with the Hand of Calixis, it's up to you whether you've traveled as a pilgrim, you know, dressing accordingly and just having your gear stashed away in a crate, or whether you've chosen still to wear your regalia, in which case, with the number of sort of faithful on board the Faith Beyond Reason, there would have been, you know, a lot of people who would have come to you constantly asking for blessings or advice, or simply just wanting to touch your armor as you walk past in the hall. So it was whether you preferred to travel obviously or lightly.
Well, I think my understanding of all of this stuff is that the ecclesiarchy, or at least the orders, seem to be more ostentatious than reserved in a lot of cases. Yes. So I don't think I would have traveled as a pilgrim. I think I would have traveled as a member of the ecclesiarchy.
Okay, no worries. So certainly, you know, your time on the ship, you would have been asked to give a number of sermons on the ship, which I suppose is good practice for what you'd be doing. And there was obviously a large religious contingent on board the ship as well. But as a member of the Adeptus Sororitas, there's still a lot of interest by the faithful in you as you pass through the ship. And you've got an entourage here as well, I believe. So, you know, probably there's a few attendants which are carrying your luggage, etc., as you depart this ship. So why don't you give the camera, in this case, a description of what Sister Dawn looks like?
Okay, so Sister Dawn is, in my eyes, she is one of the type of nuns that you think of when you think of a nun in like in the Christianity sense, right? So the very attractive, but for the most part has never been outside of the church. So blonde hair, blue eyes, but always is seen wearing a habit. So a lot of that is mostly covered up. Her regalia is, for the most part, is her armor is white. Her clothing, robes are also white. I've seen a lot of pictures of how the Adeptus Sororitas look, but in my eyes, because of the fact that she comes from, and we'll probably mention this in greater detail later, but she comes from a order that is a small chapter, a small order of the. I'm going to butcher the terms here, so you're going to have to excuse me, everyone, if I get it wrong. But she comes from a very small order called the Order of the Cleansing Flame. So her outfit, or her what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, anyway, her clothing is mostly white, and her robes are mostly longer than they normally wear. So she's got like a long skirt, sleeves that cover up her hands for the most part, and only really the breastplate of the armor is sort of visible. The rest of it is like under robes, and her attendants, for the most part, are quite disfigured attendants. They are only male as well. And when I say disfigured, I mean they are burned. So their face, neck, chest, arms, shoulders, legs, all that sort of stuff, mostly burned. And what they wear is mostly like what you said, pilgrim clothing for the most part. And they're not really too highly covered. They for the most part seem pretty happy to show off their disfigurement as well.
Okay. So as you step onto the promenade, which is a hub of activity right now, there's vehicles going everywhere. There's people loading and unloading crates. There's pilgrims who are coming off and looking for the nearest shrine to go and abase themselves at. You do see, and you weren't no one really gave you any specific directions on how to find the Hand of Calixis crew once you were here. That was sort of something you were left to work out. But there is effectively like one of those airport-style golf carts nearby, like with sort of 6 seats behind the driver.
I've heard about these golf carts a lot in this game.
Yeah, it's
I've never seen one. How thrilling.
We'll call it a Rubicon pattern ground transport. And there is like a young man, just sort of in like a valet's clothes, holding up like a little stencil sign which says Sister Dawn Latenya.
Okay. I will go over and introduce myself.
Yes. My lady, I have been bid to take you to your meeting. Is this all your attendance and possessions?
So there's only one attendant that I have with me.
Okay.
I don't like to have like a huge entourage, and for the most part, they only really are there to carry my belongings. In a lot of cases, so there's maybe like one like watch, like how would you call it, like a sea chest? I don't know what you'd call it in. Just been like a travel chest basically, sort of thing. You mean? Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah, so there's just that pretty much.
Okay.
And on top of that, there is a sort of like a how would I describe this? Like an instrument case almost. On top of that as well.
Okay.
And that's about it. Yeah. So I'll turn. Yeah, for my Tommy gun, exactly. So I'll turn back. Who is this person that's addressing me, by the way?
So this is just like the valet who's sitting on this golf cart.
Yeah, it's like, yes, this is everything that I have.
He hops off and helps the attendant basically put the bag on the back and indicates that you can sit down and at your leisure be ready to go shortly.
I'll sit there.
Yeah. So the driver remains mostly silent. Like he does. Maybe you're expecting him to give you some sort of like tour of like this is this, but he's just driving you through the halls of this station. Now, you've probably been on Imperial stations before. Port Wander is different in that it's clearly been sort of added to sequentially over time. So its internal layout doesn't make a lot of sense. So they've sort of just found space where they could. So you might leave like a passenger promenade, go through a bunch of effectively steam-filled mechanical corridors, only to come to another sort of suburb of civilization within the station as such. And the aesthetics of the station changed substantially from, hundreds of years old to only recently built, you can tell. But they take you into this sort of larger central promenade, and there's actually signage here which indicates you've entered the Hall of the Dead, which appears to be some sort of major trade district on board Port Wonder. And he stops the cart outside what looks like some sort of flop house, or like I guess like inn, or not even like a public inn, more just sort of like, it's a what do you call it? It's an Airbnb type place. It's effectively just a small accommodation that can be temporarily hired. And as he pulls up, the front door opens, and out comes a person that you recognize as, now is known as Anessa Pendergast. So Anessa is dressed in well-made traveler's clothes. So she's wearing sort of like tight trousers, like a long sort of spacer's jacket, with like she's like got a corseted midsection, like an overbust corset, and her hair sort of elaborately done up in she's got dark hair done up in like a bun, and she's got quite a lot of quite ostentatious jewelry. So the most obvious thing is like a black lace sort of choker cum necklace, which is sort of gem like jewels on it as well. That is quite an outstanding feature. But also she has numerous, gold and silver rings, like basically like a ring on every finger, but not on the thumbs. And other sorts of like, grimdark bric-a-brac attached to her coat as well. So little sort of small sepulchres, or little sort of emblems of the ecclesiarchy or the Inquisition. Like she definitely displays the inquisitorial logo. So her vocation is quite clear. And she sort of indicates for the valet to gather your things, and as she approaches you, Sister Dawn, was that right?
That is correct.
Frame?
That is I, yes. I am at a loss. I'm not sure if I should call you by your first name or by your new name.
Well, the name I go by is the name to use. So the past is the past. So Anessa is fine, or Inquisitor if you prefer a more formal title, but let's not be formal here right now. I must admit I am not probably the person you expected to meet here. I understand you're joining the crew of the Hand of Calixis shortly.
Oh, that was where I was led to believe I was heading.
Yes, they're arriving in port shortly, but I wanted a moment of your time first. I was wondering if I could impose upon you for a favor. Please come inside. You look like you've been tired from your long journey.
I'll make my way in.
All right. So this place looks quite lived in. Like she's obviously been here for some time. So there's, it's clearly like a pre-furnished place, but there is a degree of personalization which has gone on here. And so you see like a weapons crate in the side, which is open, which has a number of, like stronger armor and weapons in it as well. There's also some other people in here that are just look like either mercenaries, or you're guessing maybe her acolytes who are sort of busying themselves about the place. One sort of sitting in a corner smoking. Another is currently maintaining a firearm of some type. There's a woman sharpening a blade with a whetstone. I have had some dealings with the crew of the Hand of Calixis in the past. Unfortunately, I think I may have given them the wrong impression about my interest in their escapades. As they're coming in here to speak with one of my fellow Inquisitors, I was hoping actually to broker a meeting with them. But I'm concerned that from what I've heard, one of their number may be prone to responding violently, and I'm hoping to I'm hoping that a friendlier face might help to alleviate such concerns. You have no former allegiance to me specifically, and you're a member of the church. The man in question is a man of faith, so I understand. I would hope that when you meet with the crew of the Hand of Calixis, you might broker a meeting on peaceful terms for us.
Well, my intention, at least my intentions as to why I'm there, is to help them and guide them on their spiritual way. I am at a loss for words, Inquisitor. This is normally your class of personage wouldn't really bother with this sort of problem, would they? Why are you so concerned about his reactions to you?
There are things afoot in this sector and beyond right now that I need to talk with them about, that I'll need their help with in times to come. And maintaining an antagonism towards them or them towards me will not be beneficial towards the outcomes we all seek to achieve. And so I'll be straightforward with you, sister. Last time they were here, I sent people to attempt to kill them. Not because I wanted them dead, but because I wanted to test them. There were really three outcomes that I could have foreseen. One was that they died, in which case they weren't the people that I needed to help me. Two was that the rogue trader survived, but his attendants were killed, in which case he knew then that he needed to pick better attendants. Or three, they survived, in which case their mettle was tested, and I knew that they were the right people to assist me in my task. But of course, they don't necessarily see this problem so mathematically. All they see was men with guns shooting at them.
Well, you have me again at another loss. I am not sure what I'm supposed to say to that. I mean, your wisdom is much larger than my own, but generally speaking, violence begets violence, does it not?
Mm. Yes, and in this time there is only war. But I do need their help, and I do need to speak with them. So if you can, when you meet with them, tell them that I wish to meet where I am, and that I wish to meet under a banner of peace.
I have no problems doing this. My first meeting with them will definitely not be at gunpoint, I can assure you of that.
Mm. Very well. Well, I'll have my valet drive you to the docking promenade where they should be coming in shortly.
And this violent gentleman, the one that you said that you would have problems with,
yes,
does he have a name, a description?
His name is Nero, and I think you'll know him straight away.
Is he disfigured?
No, he's very clearly a man of violence.
Well, I have met a few members of that order. I will tread lightly, I suppose. Thank you for your kind words. And I will make sure that any sort of meeting that I set up with you in the future with them will hopefully be one where you can be a little bit more cordial and friendly.
Yes, very good. The Emperor protects, sister.
The Emperor protects.
Right. And she shows you out. So we cut over then to onboard the Hand of Calixis, which has just come into the Rubicon system on its way back to Port Wanda. And in the room at the time, for whatever reason they're here, are both Nero and Pierre. And also in the room is Oswald / Peck, the assistant to Sister Miriam. Although he is dressed a little less, like normally he sort of wears like an attendant's robes. Now he's sort of just dressed in plain traveling clothes. And he has like a rucksack over his shoulder, which is probably fill with all his worldly possessions, which aren't a substantial amount. But he approaches both Pierre and Nero. My lords, may I have a moment of your time?
Nero looks at Pierre.
Yeah, to be honest, you guys both thought he'd left the ship when.
Yes, that was my recollection. I specifically asked if he could stay, and Miriam was like, "No, he's mine." And I was like, "All right, fine, I'm keeping Cade. I get the other kid in the divorce, okay?"
Oh, I didn't realize you got the other kid and the both kids in the divorce.
I turn to him and I go, "I'm as surprised as you are, Lord Captain." Oswald, please tell us why you're here, because you might, in fact, be committing mutiny.
Miriam sent me back to the ship after she went to Regina 4. I've received new orders from the church. I have been given over to the Tempestus training scholar on Maccabeus Quintus. So I'm to depart the Hand of Calixis here at Port Wanderer and join a pilgrim vessel which will be heading from Maccabeus Quintus within a couple of days.
Yeah, Nero puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "That's fantastic, son. Remember everything I've taught you."
Yes, I will. I appreciate everything you did for me while I was here.
Physical training.
Also, I received a message from Sister Miriam to say that she had sent through a request to the ecclesiarchy before she left that the Hand of Calixis still needed a qualified confessor, and that apparently the ecclesiarchy has assigned a sister from a different order, a sister hospitaller, I believe, to take on the role of the ship's confessor. She will be apparently meeting the Hand of Calixis on Port Wanda when we arrive.
I am deeply conflicted by this. Thank you for telling us, Oswald.
He sort of hands over like a data wafer that's apparently got the details of the person you're meeting. Thank you, Lord Captain. Thank you, Master Bullet, for everything you've done.
As he's leaving, I plug in the data wafer to something data waferish.
Yep, no worries. So it basically indicates that the person that this person is not recommended by Miriam. Miriam simply sent anything to the church saying, they need somebody. Please assign them somebody. And when you see the name Sister Dawn Latenia, you do recall that, well, at least the order anyway, the Order of the Cleansing Flame. There was some conflict in the past that Angelique Cowles was involved in. That you were also among the armsmen at the time, where that particular order was in the battlefield as well. Not only seeing to the wounded, like they were quite a militant hospitaller order as well. So sort of they wage war still with chainsword and flamer, along with seeing to the fallen troops on the battlefield.
I'm going to turn to the Lord Captain and say, I am now even more deeply conflicted, Lord Captain.
What's wrong?
I believe that I know this woman. And he's going to flex his right arm and say, this particular scar, I believe, was healed by her. On the one hand, I do not trust anything involving Miriam because it almost certainly comes from Anissa Pendergast. On the other hand, I implicitly trust Hospitallers.
Oh, I see why you're conflicted then.
Yes, deeply conflicted, sir.
Well, that's...
I believe that we might be able to trust her as far as I can throw her.
I imagine you can throw her fairly far.
Well, in zero gravity, I can throw her an infinite distance, so...
That's a lot of trust.
I tend to trust people who sew my horrifying battle wounds up.
I can understand.
I'm going to gesture for Cade.
Yes, he comes forward. You guys feel a little bit more uncomfortable as he steps close.
Yeah, as he gets closer to us, I'm going to, I stop him at the, let's call it the perfect distance. Right at the, has he picked up any low Gothic yet?
He can probably follow some, like, he's speech is probably pretty stunted, but you can give him directions, that sort of thing, or ask him questions.
Absolutely.
You can't have highly intellectual conversations with him about the current events.
No, I give him instructions to run up and down the cargo bay, and he's only allowed to stop for water once every 3 laps, and he's supposed to keep running until I return.
Okay. He gives him an acknowledging grunt and heads off to do that.
Well, Lord Captain, should we go find your wayward confessor?
Yes. Probably need one of those. To be
Alright.
honest.
I just want to remind you, Lord Captain, that you do currently have a writ of accusation against you.
Indeed.
They might not be able to take you here, but there are several inquisitors who are not friendly towards you, including one who actively tried to kill you.
I think you're reading not enough into that, but
Do you think I'm reading too much or not enough? That was not clear.
Perhaps not enough. In other cases, too much. Subjective in that sense.
You are wise beyond my capacity, Lord Captain. He's going to say as he slips into one of the airport shuttle, his personal airport shuttle.
You both take a separate one down. Is that?
So, specifically, you have also been asked to return to Port Wanda to meet with Cassius Schrain as a matter of urgency as well, which is why you've had to do this before going to Solitude. So when the Hand docks on Port Wanda, or at least docks outside and then sends a shuttle across, there is a bit of an all-out, all-change type thing with the crew here. So a lot of there were probably some old crew of the Hand of Calixis that, yes, they survived what happened before. Yes, they were still on board, but they are probably no longer capable. There might have been some long-term impact of being affected by the core that they have, whatever reason, you've decided to swap them out too. So you picked up more crew here. The decision has been made regarding the data that was pulled from the servitor regarding the Damocles class power fusion cell. Was good data. It was data directly from an STC. It's an STC that certainly the Imperium had, but it proves the authenticity of what OzCan is offering. And so, given that receiving that amount of data pretty much shorted out the servitor's systems, the decision has been made for the servitor to be sort of transported off to a proper Mechanicus facility where they can sort of better manage, still give it the impression that it's on this ship, still try and milk OzCan for all they can, but it needs to be in a controlled environment, not just controlled by one person. So your agency is leaving to return to the Magi to sort of get everything they can out of that servitor. And if you want to communicate with OzCan, they can relay information back and forth, but they're pretty much going to try and do the whole Nigerian email scam thing to him, like say, just send one more STC and we'll give you what you want. We just need one more STC by Western Union money transfer, and then we can move our people.
It's not a good one. I already had that one. Try again. Still need a better one. This is only for a spoon. Are you serious?
By the same token, given there's evidence that your choir still carries some element of the infection from the core, the whole choir, including those new ones you brought on board, including your choir master, have been rotated out while they get further checked. They'll probably have to wait on Port 1 until the next black ship comes by to examine them and make sure that there's no sort of ongoing problems with those psychers. Probably the lesser ones will just be executed. But the proper ones like Garth and Kira will probably need to have some further examination done, and so they'll have to stay on Port Wanda for the time being. So you'll be on Port Wanda for at least a few days while personnel are changed over. But as you two leave the shuttle onto the promenade, sure enough, waiting there is a sister of the tenure along with her attendant and equipment. So you definitely recognize Nero, Dave,
as a man of violence.
Yes. Well, I mean, you've seen him before as well. You've seen him on the battlefield in the past when you last worked with this crew. Do you need descriptions of these characters again, or you're okay with what you've seen in terms of the artwork and what you've heard?
Yeah, no, I've sat through all the episodes and seen the artwork and stuff, so yeah, I have a pretty good understanding of what they look like. So.
That's pretty hardcore to catch up on 10 episodes in 1 week. I appreciate that.
It is very hardcore. And I appreciate it too. That's it.
Yeah, I did 2 times speed. Flexing that.
Hey, I understand. You just have to talk like this on a general basis, and your voice gets slightly up-pitched.
I'm actually kind of taken aback at how slow you talk, Arthur.
Oh, thank you.
I know that you talk a little faster recently, so
You're just lucky you're an Aussie because I talk fast at 1 time speed, and being an Aussie, you probably pick up some of my mumble.
Yeah, you smush all the words together. No, I got it. It's good. Yeah.
All right.
So as you guys make your way up to me, Dawn will curtsy. And then address all of you as like, Lord Captain, my name is Sister Confessor Dawn Latenya of the Cleansing Flame. I have been ordered to come aboard as your chief confessor.
Excellent. A pleasure to meet you, of course.
And the pleasure is all mine, I can assure you. And then I'll turn to Nero Bullet and I'll say, I've been told that we have served together at one point. Unfortunately, I do not recognize you. If we have met, I apologize. I have healed many men of violence like yourself.
I recognize you. You're unique among the hospitalers that I've met.
Yes, my order does tend to stand out compared to our sisters. We are small in number, but we definitely are a unique order.
Seen any Inquisitors lately?
So she will flush with embarrassment a little bit and say, yes, actually, there is one thing I must say. I have been told of your interactions with Inquisitor Pendergast before, and I will be forthright and say that she approached me a few moments ago in order to ask that I mediate a much more civil meeting between herself and the senior staff of the rogue trader ship.
Nero's going to turn and raise an eyebrow.
Excellent. That sounds quite lovely. We'll be happy to join.
I'm glad that you think so. She specifically asked that I repair any confusion or ill will that she might have presented herself as, especially to you, Mr. Nero.
Please, my father was Mr. Nero.
I am unsure how I should address you then.
Master Nero, or hey you, or Guy.
You have strange names, Master Guy Nero.
Nero raises his mug, which one side says, "The Emperor is my co-pilot," and the other side says, "Number 1 Master of Ordnance."
I raise my mug that says, "The Emperor rides shotgun." No, I don't do that. So you will be willing to meet with the Inquisitor under, less violent terms?
I shrug and turn to the Lord Captain, raising an eyebrow.
Yes, of course.
So she will clap her hands together and be like,
okay, get in the vehicle.
Yes, of course. My attendant head on into the ship, Lord Trader.
Yes, you can have my old room. I've recently moved to a better room. Some would call it the best room on the ship. I can guarantee that it is the second best room on the ship.
I guess my attendant, and I look over at my attendant. I guess his name is Garrison or something. I don't know. something like that.
I will give him the birthing number of my old room, which is a very long string of alphanumerics.
Mm-hmm. All right, he quickly jots it down on a bit of scrap paper.
All right, get in the vehicle.
So I will sit in the vehicle.
I floor it, and we go all 13 miles an hour it's capable of struggling at.
Must we go so fast?
Hey, at least because it's an electric engine, it goes straight to maximum speed at the start. There's no rev up. So you've got, the meeting with Pendergast and the meeting with Shrine. So where would you prefer to start?
So what you see, Lord Captain, is I'm driving forward, but for some reason I never get closer. There's a Y intersection, and there's 2 floating arrows.
It's like the James Bond green screen thing in a car, where it just always just moves, but it's like...
I was thinking more like the Game of Thrones or Wolf Among Us. What were those games called?
Telltale Games.
Yeah, Telltale Games. Yeah, like there's a timer bar getting slower and slower.
Yeah. I guess since Cass just said that his is urgent, we should probably go see him first.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I rip the transmission into 2nd gear, the only other gear level.
I thought the only other gear would be reverse.
Slow and fast.
It's the turtle and then the rabbit. They're slow and fast.
That's right. Yeah, yes, exactly.
I've been on too many tractors.
That's a man who's played golf before.
It's a man who's used also riding lawnmowers.
Okay, no worries.
That too.
So Shrine has also organised a place to meet you in the court of the Hall of the Dead. So likewise, he has a permanent accommodation there. So entering the Hall of the Dead, as much as you remember it, probably the one thing that really stands out to you that's changed is that among the various statues in the sort of the colonnade of, or the arch roofing of the hall, there's now a statue of your mother as well, looking down upon the hall, along with all the other road traders that lost their lives exploring the Koronus Expanse.
Yes, the mother I did not have very much time with.
And
as you say that, I'm just like, I spent plenty of time with your mother, Lord Captain. She was a fine woman.
Good for you.
The little of that I met of her, she did leave a mark on myself, if that means anything. My condolences, by the way, Lord Captain.
It's fine.
Her statue isn't scary enough.
But hopefully that she died in a most painless and not mind-controlled way.
That sounds unlikely.
Yeah, she's probably actually not dead at the moment, to be honest.
That doesn't sound right. I'm pretty sure we know that she's
a couple of times.
Definitely dead. I'm fairly certain we know that she's dead.
Do we?
James, do we know that?
I mean, you haven't got none of the bodies. You didn't find any of the bodies in it, but yeah, the thing was that according to those that came back and told you about, they had seen her dead by her own hand.
See, Lord Captain, I remember her being dead. That was the thing that people said. Also, I watched the first episode of the show, so.
So the building that you've been given as directions to for Cassius is like one of those sort of offices joined to a warehouse, basically.
Ah, yes, import-export company. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
yep,
exactly.
Been here and done that before. I just look at him. I'm like, this is exactly what I would expect of an inquisitorial safe house, sir.
Thank you.
So I'll sort of like, Lord Nero, Master Nero. Sorry, my apologies. The whole point of an inquisitorium is that they remain hidden. So I'm not sure how you could have any understanding of what a inquisitive warehouse would actually look like.
I don't know a lot about inquisitors. I only learned about them about 3 months ago. But everything I have got so far indicates that they lie constantly about everything. And there is no better place to find people who lie than a warehouse.
I'll just blink a couple of times, and I'm just like, I assume your words have some wisdom to them, though I'm not sure I understand them just yet.
That is the first time I have heard that. Nero's just gonna pick up his heavy bolter and start marching towards the front door of the office part, knocking on it.
Okay.
I assume the door opens and a Death Watch Space Marine is like,
no.
What?
so you knock on the
password.
Door, and then a few moments later, the roller door for the warehouse starts to come up. And yeah, you can see standing in the roller door is an imposing figure in black power armor. So for those of you that saw them before, you recognize the Flesh Terror among the two Marines that you saw with Cassius before. For your benefit, Henley, so black power armor with a silver left arm, which is common for the Death Watch. His right pauldron has a symbol of a red blood drop on top of a white circular saw blade on top of a black field. You probably don't have enough lore about the Astartes because this is not one of the major chapters, so you don't necessarily recognize the chapter.
No, yeah.
I said Flesh Terrors for you, Pondo.
Oh, okay. You did say Flesh Terrors. I was trying to think who it was, but I was like, no, I got nothing.
The difference here is that this time his helmet's been removed. The man you see within is bald-headed, clearly like sort of shaved, so he's still got that sort of stubble from a day's growth after last shaving. Very sort of craggy features, pale skin. When he opens his mouth, though, you can see he has very, very pronounced canines, like almost like vampiric style fangs when he talks. But he when he sees you, he says, "The Inquisitor is this way. Follow me." He indicates for you to follow.
I just follow.
Okay.
I follow as well.
Yep.
I follow last.
Inside the warehouse section is a couple of vehicles, including one which is clearly like size for a Space Marine to comfortably drive, along with crates that bear Death Watch or Inquisitorial logos. There are also some deactivated servitors sitting in here as well. Look like maybe armory servitors. The Marine directs you through to sort of like the office area from the inside, which has been nicely appointed almost in like almost like a wealthy mansion style, sort of like, nice furniture, art on displays as well. And Shrain is waiting in there for you. Shrain has forsaken his black long coat, and he's now sort of in like a white silk shirt with a red cravat, black trousers, and like very shiny, nicely polished black shoes. He comes across as very sort of foppish as before. So his hair has been slicked back, so he has sort of longish black hair, so like shoulder length black hair, which has been slicked back at the moment. And he's just finishing pouring some expensive looking alcohol into glasses. Lord Captain, it's a pleasure to meet with you again and speak with you face to face once more. Please have a seat. Could I offer you a drink?
I'll be fine.
The Marine comes and stands just nearby, and Shrain sits down as well. I remember you were. I'm sorry, I've lost your name. He points towards Nero.
And Nero looks around, and as he does, his shoulder-mounted gun looks with him, and he says, yes, Inquisitor. Nero Julius Augustus Bullen. You might know me by the name Nero the Blade. Wonderful to meet you again.
Right. There's like a moment of like thinking, do I know that name? And he shakes it off and says, please have a seat as well, sir, and a drink if you wish. And young lady, I don't believe if we've made an acquaintance, although I do see the trappings of the Sororitas about you, so we have a common ally in the Inquisition, and of course all of us in the God Emperor.
Just she'll curtsy and say, "It is a pleasure to meet you, Inquisitor. My name is Sister Confessor Dawn."
Very good. Well, please sit if you wish, drink if you're able. I don't recognize your order, so I'm not sure whether you imbibe, but I assume most of your kind do.
We do imbibe, just not of the liquor.
Very good. Look, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to come all the way back to Port Wanda and meet with me. There are things that I wished to discuss that are best done face to face and not via open communication or even encrypted communication. Speaking of which, not long after you passed through Port Wanda before, I received a package that had apparently been sent by the former rogue trader Cowles, by your mother. The message within has definitely given me pause for concern. I think before we discuss it further, I should share with you the message that she sent to me. So he indicates towards the Marine who brings over like a small data terminal, which so that's it, which he slides thing into, and I will see if this works. Hopefully, wait.
Do we do it when we come back from the break?
I think this is the last thing before the break. Is
all right. All right, do it.
Okay.
Begin encryption. Rogue trader Angelique Cowles. Imperial warrant 6638 Alpha Primus. To my old friend Cassius. It has been some time since we have last spoken, and I know that I've ignored your recent summons. For this, I apologize. I'm afraid that I've been under the influence of an alien intelligence I've recently come to realize. This entity calls itself the Last Scion, and as of the sending of this message, it is currently interred within a ziggurat of black stone beneath the surface of Regina 4 in the Winterscale realm. Unfortunately, it was by my own hand that the Scion came to be here. I discovered it on an ancient Martian probe some years ago, and the data I collected from it was the source of my recent success, and also how I initially found my way both to the 13th station and the Jericho Gate. I am sure now that even then its malign influence had begun to control my crew and I, and thus I never told you of it. The Scion wanted to be brought here to Regina 4. Despite originating from Mars, it came to the Expanse looking for this place. We have seen horrors here. A native human race that has been the subject of alien experimentation millennia in the making. Human beings converted into soulless automata, driven by a hatred of the living. Worse, I have come to realize that by awakening this place, we have set into motion a series of events that will bring ruin to the Koronus Expanse. Perhaps even the Segmentum. Perhaps it is this final revelation that has brought me out of the stupor inflicted upon me by the Scion and given me this one final chance at redemption. I will do what I can here on Regina 4 to stop the Scion. I fear that my crew will try to stop me, for they are still slaves to its will, and although I would gladly give my own life to end this threat, I'm not sure even that is enough. I will dispatch this message along with a void-sealed box containing elements taken from the ziggurat, along with our knowledge of the Scion. Perhaps if I fail, you can find some secrets within the Omega Vault that will give you the lore to end this threat to the Imperium. I wish you all success, and I'm sorry our work together has been cut short. Angelique. Conclude and encrypt. Code Xenos Extremis.
There we go. So I've put the text of that into the Discord cast group in case you need to refer to the words without having the audio again.
Yeah, it cut off half for me. Like after she introduced herself, it like muted on my end, so I had to listen through the stream. But yeah, I got the gist of it.
Okay.
I think I'll need to read the text again though.
Cool. So we'll come back and continue the conversation after a quick break.
Yeah, James, you just gonna drop that on us? But yeah, sure. we'll come back after like an 8 to 10 minute break. I don't know, loosey goosey.